So Benedico, I'm so glad you came to see me today. I'm Cosimina Territo, but everyone calls me Sissy. I was born in 1889 in Taulli, Sicily, the fourth of 11 children, along with my twin sister Lily. We came to live here in this new world on a boat with my mother and a couple of siblings. My father had come 13 months earlier with the rest of the family. She said, now we're in America, we need to learn to speak the language. So we went to work on a river plantation, worked the fields to learn American ways and to learn the language. But I was the runt of the family. They wouldn't let me work in the fields. They put me in the kitchen. That seemed to be a blessing in disguise because I learned the language, I learned how to do everything the American way, and I learned to cook. Married my husband Charlie on June 30th, 1907, over here at St. Joseph Catholic Church. We had a beautiful life. We had 12 children that included 2 sets of twins, Tom and Josephine, and my babies Peter and Paul. Unfortunately, lost a set of twins right before Tom and T, and my baby Joseph died when he was only 1 day old. He's buried over here with his paternal grandparents. We settled in Harvey. We were still attending the St. Joseph Church with the mostly German community of Gretna. They were nice people, but a little Italian village wanted our own church a little bit closer to home. So my husband, who was a carpenter, started gathering wood from the local sawmill where he worked, and most of his friends and family worked also. They gathered the wood and they built our church on 2nd Avenue. We dedicated it to St. Rosalie. They used mostly local cypress. And one of the last buildings, I think, that used this cypress. 1919, the Spanish flu epidemic broke out in the city of New Orleans. So we decided to pray to our patron saint for a miracle like that saved Palermo from the bubonic plague 500 years before. So we took to the streets. We gathered at St. Joseph in Gretna, and we did a procession all the way down the highway, 4th Street, to St. Rosalie Church, prayed the rosary the whole way. No lives were lost to this flu. We still do the procession today. We continue to do it then. Here's a picture of the procession in front of St. Joseph Church in probably the 1940s. It was wonderful. The men would carry her statue, the little boys would walk behind, and my little girls, I dressed them as angels. I made all their wings and halos, and we prayed the rosary all the way to St. Rosalie. It was just beautiful. During the war, I hosted a St. Joseph altar in my home, praying that all my boys would come home safely. It was a huge spread. All sorts of Italian pastas and breads and pastries and cookies, especially my fig cookies, the pucciadatas. That was always my favorite. All my boys came home safely. After we stopped doing the altar, we continued to make the pucciadatas in my home, mostly my family and mostly around the holidays, but I got everybody involved. I had the boys, they made the dough. My daughters and my daughters-in-law made the cookies. I even got the children involved. I let them put the icing in the sprinkles, but that's okay. I was watching. Nobody licked their fingers. Sunday, I went to Mass at 11 o'clock, came back to my house for lunch on Sunday. It was huge. All kinds of food, and all the family was there. We all usually ended up on the back porch making homemade ice cream. I love sitting on my porch watching my children play, and the men would sit under the fig tree playing cards. Pedro and Blu-ray mostly. Then I began to lose the use of my legs due to the results of diabetes and a family illness that we never did identify. All my siblings had the same disease, and we all ended up in a wheelchair, except for my sister Mamie. She was the only one that was born in the United States. But don't worry, it didn't stop me from doing anything. I had my house done. I got my food ready every day. I shuffled from the sink to the stove, got my pots, put them on the stove, and onto the table. Had something cooking every day. Had a gravy on the stove every day. We had chickens in the yard. I cooked chickens all the time, and vegetables from the garden. Vegetable soup was on the stove every day. It was my husband's favorite. Manja. And then I completely lost the use of my legs, and I ended up in this wheelchair, and my husband had passed away. I'm not going to believe what happened. My children stepped up. They came me every single day. The girls would take turns spending the night and cooking me dinner. They'd come in the morning with my boys, get me out of bed, pray my rosary, make my coffee, get my table ready for the day for whoever was coming to visit. my children, my grandchildren, my nieces, my nephews, even the priest came for lunch. It was just wonderful. And 8 o'clock that night, they would come every night, pray my rosary, make me a little coffee before I go to bed, and the boys would get me in bed. They did that every single day until I came here at the age of 102. My life on 2nd Street was so rich with family and friends and my church, I could not have asked for a better life. I thank y'all for visiting me today. Buona notte.
Okay, Cosimo Territo was portrayed by Jean Uthnack, who happens to be the 18th of the 24 grandchildren of Cosimo.
Oh,
Now we're going to go to the favorite stops of everybody on the tour. It's the wine shop.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that you, Shelley?
No, I'm on 2 rows over.
Where you going?
Two rows over.
What you looking for?
Thank you so much.
I know.